it tastes good because it removes a lot of the junk out of the water that doesn't taste good. I can't say that I just became young again, although people look at me and say I look like I'm in my 50s or 60s, and I'm more than halfway through my 70s. I'm 76, and I play basketball, and I walk, and I'm active, and I teach, make products.
Thanks for tuning in to the Elevation Recovery Podcast, your hub for addiction recovery strategies, hosted by Chris Scott and Matt Finch.
Question 1. What is water?
Water is a compound composed of two common elements that are actually gases, hydrogen and oxygen. It covers 70% of our planet, but that's mostly salt water, and of course we can't drink that. What we need is fresh water.
How much water do human adults need on average per day?
It depends on your level of activity, but generally you need to drink half your body's weight in fluid ounces per day. So for example, if I weigh 180 pounds, I would need to drink 90 ounces of water a day. Now, a lot of people don't drink that much. And the way you can tell if you're properly hydrated is you can take the skin between your thumb and forefinger and pull it like this, and it should pop right back. If it doesn't, that means you're dehydrated. And if you are dehydrated, that half your body weight in fluid ounces is only going to maintain your level of hydration, or in that case, dehydration. So if you're dehydrated, you need to drink more for a while until you see that you're hydrated. Then you can maintain that hydration level at half your body weight. A lot of people drink other things and consider that hydrating. But for example, fruit juices are dehydrating because of the fructose, which is actually dehydrating. Alcohol is dehydrating. Herb teas that are diuretics that cause you to pee more are dehydrating because they release more water out of your body. So you need to drink water, half your body weight, to maintain your level of hydration.
Are all types of drinking water created equal?
Well, they all start off pretty equal, but they sure don't end up that way. Drinking water out of a tap, of course, is total poison. It has too many things in it for me to get into in a short amount of time. It has chlorine, which is horrible, chloramines, hexavalent chromium, perchlorate, pieces of dead animals that the Water District euphemistically calls organics, which combines with the chlorine in the water and forms chloroform, which is a Class A carcinogen. So tap water will give you cancer, and that's common knowledge. It's also very acidic, as most stagnant waters are. So if we're drinking water that was coming down a stream or out of a spring, that would be moving, and that movement through rocks and pebbles breaks up the water molecules. But if it's allowed to just sit in a reservoir or a tank or in a pipe, those water molecules clump together because water is what's called attractive and adhesive. The oxygen side of the molecule is more negative than the hydrogen side, and so it's actually a little magnet. If you put some rubber duckies with a magnet glued to them in a tub of water and spread them out, after some time they would all end up in one clump in the middle. That's macro-clustered water, and that's most of the water we drink. Been in a bottle for a while, been in a reservoir for a while. Water that's coming through like I said, a river bubbling over rocks or coming through the earth breaks it up. And that's called micro-clustered. That's important because the size of the water molecule determines its ability to actually penetrate the cell wall and hydrate your cells. So a lot of people, when I teach nutrition classes and say you need to drink water, people say, I don't like water. Well, the water they're drinking is poison, carcinogenic, macro-clustered, acidic, and it doesn't hydrate your body, it floods your body.
what is the type of water that you drink and why?
Okay, so I drink tap water. But the tap water I drink goes through a device that is a unit that does several positive things to the water. In fact, it turns it into what Ponce de Leon was looking for, the fountain of youth. There are several places on the planet where this kind of water occurs naturally. Lourdes, France, Vilcabamba, Ecuador, and the glacial melt in the Himalayas. That's water will actually extend your life. The water that most people drink is going to kill you, in a nutshell. So what does my unit do? The water first goes through reverse osmosis, semi-permeable membrane, which pretty much removes everything from the water. People are concerned about that because it's like, or distilled water. They say, well, there's no minerals in it. Well, 411 on minerals in water is that they're not bioavailable. For those minerals to be absorbed through the gut lining and get into your body and hydrate it, they have to have a negative charge. Otherwise, they just plug up that receptor site. So what's going to give it a negative charge? If you're getting water from plants, the water in plants is chelated. And if you're getting the minerals in the plants are chelated. So if you get a calcium supplement, it's not just calcium. It's going to be calcium lactate, calcium carbonate, calcium citrate. They're chelated forms of calcium. What does that do? It gives it a negative charge, just like the plants do with a natural chelation in the plant. That makes those minerals bioavailable. So people say you shouldn't drink distilled water because it has no minerals. It's going to leach minerals out of your body. So you're going to drink mineral water. Guess what? The minerals in the mineral water don't have a negative charge. They're not bioavailable. And really, they're no different as far as the mineral absorption in your body is concerned, is no different from drinking distilled water. So my unit removes all the minerals, but then it replaces those with alkaline minerals, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, and magnesium. And those wouldn't be bioavailable either, but it does a magic trick to it, which it gives it a negative charge through a process called ionization. An ion is a charged particle. So they have ionizers that do that electronically. But the one I have does it the way the Earth does it, naturally, with a mineral. The mineral is called the electric mineral tourmaline. Tourmaline actually gives the water a strong negative charge. So now you're drinking water that is actually an antioxidant. The lifespan of mammals is directly proportional to the amount of antioxidants that animal produces naturally or gets in their diet. Studies have shown that drinking water like this, ionized water, will extend your life by 10 years. Truly the fountain of youth. So the tourmaline actually does that. It actually produces, it's piezoelectric, which means when you squeeze it, it emits a 0.05 millivolt charge. And that's a negative charge. So it negatively charges the water, which makes the water antioxidant, but it negatively charges those alkaline minerals so that those are now bioavailable. So this water is alkaline, ionized, but also when the water passes through this cartridge with the tourmaline and the minerals, that has the effect of busting up the water molecules, so at the same time it microclusters the water, make it more bioavailable to your cells. In addition to that, tourmaline is a surfactant, which means it lowers the surface tension of the water so that it is more bioavailable. Between these things, this water is literally 5 times more hydrating than other stagnant macroclustered water. The other thing is that bottled waters or tap water is acidic. And I have some drops that will show the acidity of water. And if it's more alkaline, that it turns it blue or purple. If it's more acidic, it turns it yellow, orange, or red. A lot of bottled waters turn that red, which means the pH, the acid-alkaline balance, is about 4 or 5. Our body needs to have a pH of 7.42. The alkalinizing minerals that are ionized and bioavailable in the system I have actually produce water that has a pH of about 10 or even 11, which is even more alkaline than you need to be. And people say, can it be too alkaline? And the answer is no. So the water I drink is clean, has like 99% of most bad things taken out. It makes the water an antioxidant, it alkalinizes it, and it makes it more hydrated, more bioavailable. In addition to that, if that wasn't enough, magic for water, the 0.05 millivolts current voltage that tourmaline emits to the water, what is the frequency of that? All voltage like that has some frequency. The frequency in our home is like 110 volts, but it's 60 cycles per second, they used to call it. Now they call it hertz. Well, the frequency of the water that comes through tourmaline is actually a frequency called far infrared radiation. So there's actually far infrared radiation biomats and saunas, because they're really good. That frequency is really strengthening to us. It's like that little chamber that Superman got in that made him super, right? Well, he was already super, but it restored his superness. And so the thing is, the frequency of our body fluids is that frequency. So that the tourmaline harmonizes the water we're drinking to that frequency of our body. So you're getting something that charges up your body fluids at a frequency that's beneficial to us.
Where can people find this type of water that you drink? What's the next best type of water, etc.? Where can people, start drinking this type of water if they're interested?
Yeah, well, there's an investment involved, because the system I have, for example, is about $1,000. But it's like buying a car. It's like you might freak out because you're spending $30,000 on a vehicle. But once you paid for it, then you've got it to use. With this, all you have to do is to replace the cartridges. Every 1,000 gallons in my system, it's brand new. And that those filter replacements, $200. Well, 1,000 gallons for $200 is basically, if you do the math on that, like 20 cents a gallon.
That's cheap.
They sell this at water stores for $3.50, $4.50 a gallon. But you can produce your own at home for 20 cents a gallon, point of use. And the reason it's more important to do it at home is that fades over time. That charge dissipates over time. So you want to get it as fresh as possible. Right out of the device is the ideal. Otherwise, you can buy this water, like I said, at water stores. You can get your own system. If you Google alkaline ionized water, you'll see a plethora of water systems. The one that I use is from a company called Water Revolution. It's water-revolution.com. And I have a unit called the Alkalinity HD. And it works really good. It's non-electric, which is really cool. You don't have to plug it in, because what gives the water the charge is that piezoelectric mineral, tourmaline. So if the power goes out, for electric ionizers, which a lot of them are, you're up a creek. But with this one, as long as you have water flowing through it, water available, you have good clean water.
How long ago did you start drinking this type of water?
I believe it was about 8 years ago.
What were the benefits that you noticed from switching over?
First of all, it encouraged me to drink more water. And it tastes good because it removes a lot of the junk out of the water that doesn't taste good. I can't say that I just became young again, although people look at me and say I look like I'm in my 50s or 60s, and I'm more than halfway through my 70s.
You're almost 80 years old.
I'm 76.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost 80.
Yeah, and I play basketball, and I walk, and I'm active, and I teach, make products. The one thing that excited me about this water really was as a medicine maker. I'm an herbalist, and I make tinctures, teas, of course, as well. Making tea with this water will make your tea like 5 times stronger because it's that 5 times a better solvent. Not only is it going to hydrate your body better, but it's going to draw the compounds out of the herbs better. And when I make tinctures, I use alcohol, but I dilute it with water. And when I dilute it with this water, it makes the water, it makes the alcohol I'm soaking the herbs in better of a solvent. So it's stronger medicine.
Does it make coffee stronger too?
There's actually 2 angles to it. Coffee, the active drug in coffee is caffeine, which is an alkaloid. And it's not very water soluble. But this water is a better solvent, so it's going to overcome a little bit of that disadvantage of that compound being not water soluble. And so, yes, it'll make your coffee stronger. You can make your coffee stronger also by putting a little bit of lemon juice in the brewing water. Anything acidic, if your water that you're brewing your coffee with is 1% acid by volume, it converts that alkaloid, which is the caffeine, into an alkaloidal salt, and now it becomes totally water soluble. I make my partner's coffee in the morning with 35 grams of coffee beans. If I would put some lemon juice in there, or I have some hydrochloric acid, put a tiny bit of that in there, I could make that coffee just as strong with 7 grams of coffee bean, 5 times less. All right, so here's my water system here. And this is the reverse osmosis system. It's composed of 3 different cartridges. It has a non-electric pump, which is kind of cool. And it has a tank, because reverse osmosis only produces a small amount of water at a time, so you have to put it in a reservoir. But then it goes through the media at the end of it. So you have your own faucet. This is the poison faucet. This is the extend your life faucet. So what I can demonstrate here is how bottled water can be very acidic. And this is exceptionally acidic because it's carbonated water. So I have these reagent drops here that turn a different color according to the pH of the water. So as I was saying earlier, this is going to be a pH of about 5, maybe even a little less than that. That's very acidic. What you want is water that's alkaline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this out and put some of the magic water in there. And when I put my reagent drops in there, it's going to turn the water blue. Which is an indication that it's almost out of the reagent drops. Which is an indication that it is alkaline. If it turned it green, that would be about 7 pH. That would be okay. That's our pH of our body. A little bit little more alkaline, but this is more alkaline than that. So it's making the water more alkaline. And I have an ORP meter here, and it's not working right now. But if I measured the ORP of this water, it would be positive. It would be about 300 millivolts positive. And if I measure the voltage of this water, it would measure about 4, 5, even 600 millivolts negative. That negative, all that extra electrons are available to neutralize free radicals. Free radicals are an element or a compound that's missing one or more electrons. And so it robs the fatty acids and amino acids in your body of electrons and does free radical damage. It's like a virus in your computer. And it's destructive. It's what causes degenerative disease, aging, and death. Whereas if you have water that can donate electrons to those free radicals, they're not free radicals anymore. And they're not going to do damage to your body. It's really that simple.
So basically, focusing on how much water you consume and the type of water you consume could potentially really radically boost your physical health, psychological health, and even your lifespan.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Dad. And where can people find you and learn more, like your website, etc.?
Well, our website is selfhealschool.com, SELFHEAL school.com.